Have you ever wondered why winter sometimes decides to just show up and completely knock on our door with the wildest cold snap we have seen in over 10 years? And what does this massive shift in the skies mean for the 127 million of us trying to ring in the new year, head home for the holidays, or just get outside in the next 3 weeks? As I sit here talking to you on this Saturday, December 27th, we are watching something truly incredible and, honestly, a bit worrying taking shape on the maps from one coast to the other. Bands of heavy snow are already tearing through the Northeast, hitting New York City, Long Island, Connecticut, and parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania hard. Buffalo has already seen more than 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain, turning roads into ice rinks, stranding drivers, and knocking out power in scattered spots. But listen, this storm in the Northeast, it is just the appetizer for a much bigger, more dangerous main course that is going to redefine winter across America for weeks. Stick with me for the next 24 minutes, and I will show you exactly what is going on with this crazy pattern that is about to dump snow on places that hardly ever see a flake. We are talking about changes to New Year's plans across 35 states and 6 time zones. But let me tell you why this is unlike any other forecast you will hear today or anywhere else. At exactly 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I am going to show you how a deep dip in the atmosphere this Sunday is going to spark a full-blown blizzard in the upper Midwest. By minute 8, you will see why the negative North Atlantic oscillation forming right now is going to trap Arctic air over us for what could be 3 whole weeks. At the 12-minute mark, I will break down snowfall totals and the dangerous timing for more than 65 big cities from Miami to Seattle and San Diego to Portland, Maine. Everything I am showing you comes from data updated just 90 minutes ago from the National Weather Service, the European Center, and emergency hubs across the country. We are not guessing here or looking at some vague seasonal trend. These are the real deal patterns that hospital staff, power crews, and emergency managers are looking at right this second. By minute 18, you will know when these storms might bring snow as far south as northern Georgia and the Carolinas for the first time in ages. And at the 22-minute mark, I will explain why this could last deep into January, setting the stage for some historic winter weather down south. But first, I want to tell you why folks who have been doing this for years are genuinely worried about what they are seeing unfold on the maps. Kicking off this Sunday, December 28th, we are going to see a massive dip in the atmosphere, plunging aggressively right into the central United States. This dip is taking on what we call a neutral tilt, digging in hard, which usually tells us we are about to see some serious energy and storm formation. So as this system digs in on Sunday, I am expecting a blizzard to pop up around that low pressure center in the upper Midwest. As we roll into early next week, this pattern gets even more dicey and widespread. By Tuesday morning, December 31st, New Year's Eve, this massive trough swings right across the immediate eastern United States. Right on its heels, we get a blast of freezing air that rushes in and just parks itself there behind the system. That system gets stuck because the jet stream buckles, kind of like a kink in a hose, thanks to a blockage sitting way up north. That high-pressure ridge over Greenland is what we call a negative NAO, acting like a wall that forces cold air to spill down here. This setup is going to lock that cold air in for a long haul. We're talking potentially 2 or 3 weeks of sustained freezing temperatures. Now, this is where it gets really interesting for my friends in places that usually skip winter, especially down in the South. I truly believe we need to keep a close eye on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, even for folks in the Mid-South with this kind of atmospheric setup. A few days into January, this trough stretches way down south, opening the door for winter storms in some very unexpected places. We need that dip to go deep and for the cold air to mix with the southern jet stream, which is getting really active right now. That southern jet stream, sitting 35,000 to 40,000 feet up, is getting supercharged and energetic with this pattern. If we can funnel some cold air into that high energy stream, that is our recipe for getting some winter storms going. And not just for the South, but basically anywhere along that line. And this busy pattern isn't going anywhere throughout the extended forecast. Things are heating up, well, cooling down, as the southern stream starts picking up serious speed alongside the northern one. All we need is that cold air to crash into the moisture and energy, and that is exactly what this pattern is serving up. Looking way out at the end of the long-range forecast, the models show this wild setup with tons of cold air diving into low-pressure zones. That means we could see some major storms brewing. It is a fascinating and potentially dangerous setup for winter weather. Now, regarding the chill, here is what this pattern means for millions of you in the central and eastern United States. The first wave hits Monday, December 30th, dropping temperatures anywhere from a few degrees to 15 or 20 degrees below normal. I am pulling these numbers from the latest ensemble models that just updated 90 minutes ago from Global Weather Prediction Centers. This is not speculation or generic outlook material. These are the specific patterns emergency officials are watching like hawks right now. From transit authorities to power crews and farmers, everyone is gearing up for what might be the most impactful winter pattern in recent memory. Let me walk you through the timeline of this dangerous stretch, starting with the blizzard threat looming this weekend. Sunday, December 28th, marks the start of that big dip and the formation of surface low pressure across the northern plains. By Sunday evening, heavy snow starts piling up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa as the storm rapidly gains strength. Come Monday, December 29th, this storm hits its peak, unleashing blizzard conditions across a huge chunk of the upper Midwest. Have you ever felt the temperature plummet so fast it takes your breath away? That is exactly what happens as freezing Arctic air rushes south, dropping the thermometer 20 to 30 degrees in just a few hours. By Tuesday, December 30th, get ready to settle in because this weather pattern is parking a massive trough right over the eastern United States for the long haul. Come Tuesday evening, that biting cold air is going to wrap its icy arms tightly around the entire eastern two-thirds of the country. On Wednesday, December 31st, yep, New Year's Eve, our friends in the South might get their first taste of winter magic as a wave of energy rides that cold air highway. Imagine waking up on New Year's Day, Thursday, January 1st, to a white blanket in Arkansas. We are talking about the potential for several inches of snow piling up in the northern counties. Folks in the Tennessee Valley, from Nashville down to Huntsville and over to Chattanooga, you might just see your first real snowfall of the season. Just when you think it is over, from Friday, January 2nd through Sunday the 4th, Mother Nature sends another blast of even chillier air straight down from northern Canada. And here is the kicker. This fresh batch of cold means any snow that lands is going to stick around for a while instead of turning into slush. Mark your calendars from Monday, January 5th through Wednesday the 7th, because that looks like round 2 for major winter weather down south. This storm could be the big one, packing even more potential for heavy southern snow since it is running into all that cold air already in place. The data is painting a snowy picture stretching all the way from Arkansas, sweeping through Tennessee, and reaching right into the Carolinas. Then keep an eye out for a third system between January 8th and 10th. This one looks like it wants to push winter deeper into the south than we have seen yet. We are seeing signs that snow could reach as far down as northern Georgia, upstate South Carolina, and the beautiful North Carolina foothills. Believe it or not, a fourth system might roll in around January 12th through the 14th, keeping the winter vibes going strong deep into the month. So, gather round while I break down exactly what this wild, unprecedented weather pattern means for more than 65 big cities across the United States. Let's start out west, where folks are going to see the wildest divide in weather conditions anywhere in the nation. Up in Seattle and Portland, you are still in the thick of it, with active storms bringing soaking rains to the cities and piling snow high in the mountains. The Cascades, stretching from Mount Baker down to Mount Shasta, are looking at a massive dump of 3 to 6 feet of fresh powder over the next couple of weeks. If you are planning to drive through passes like Snoqualmie, Stevens, or White Pass, please be careful. It is going to be treacherous out there. Meanwhile, San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose are living the dream with absolutely stunning weather and highs staying cozy in the low to mid-70s. Down in Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Orange County, it is nothing but sunshine and perfect winter days with temps climbing into the mid to upper 70s. San Diego, Tijuana, and the whole Southern California coast are basking in paradise with highs flirting with 80 degrees. Even inland, folks in Sacramento, Stockton, and the Central Valley get to enjoy mild, pleasant days while the rest of the country freezes. Fresno, Bakersfield, and Modesto are looking at arguably the best winter weather California has seen in more than 10 years. Over in Las Vegas, Henderson, and Reno, it is picture perfect with crystal blue skies and thermometers sitting comfortably in the 70s. Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Tucson are enjoying fantastic winter days, with highs reaching the upper 70s or even touching 80 degrees. But for Albuquerque and Santa Fe, get your coats ready because a major shift brings much colder air your way by the middle of the week. Now, for my family in the Mountain West, brace yourselves for the most extreme temperature swings in the entire lower 48. Denver, Aurora, and the Front Range are staring down the barrel of the toughest winter stretch you have faced in years. You might see some light flakes Sunday evening, but the real headline is the bone-chilling temperature crash hitting Monday and Tuesday. Residents in Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and Fort Collins will watch temps plunge from the 50s this weekend to potentially below zero by Tuesday. Salt Lake City, Provo, and Ogden are in for a similar shock with plummeting mercury and a good chance of heavy snow in the valley. Starting Monday, Boise, Twin Falls, and Pocatello are going to feel some of the coldest air of the entire season. Cheyenne, Casper, and Billings need to watch out for potential blizzard conditions Sunday night into Monday, followed by dangerous wind chills. Let's shift gears to the upper Midwest, where things are getting serious and dangerous as soon as this weekend. Minneapolis, St. Paul, and everyone in the Twin Cities need to batten down the hatches for a major blizzard arriving Sunday night and lasting through Monday. We are looking at heavy snow piling up 8 to 14 inches deep, combined with wind chills that could freeze you to the bone at 30 to 40 degrees below zero. Up in Duluth, Superior, and the Iron Range, you folks might get buried under even more snow, potentially 12 to 18 inches. Fargo, Grand Forks, and Bismarck are going to catch the full brunt of this storm, with whiteout conditions and cold so severe it is actually life-threatening. Milwaukee, Madison, and Green Bay are just on the edge of the worst of it, but you will still be shoveling plenty of snow. Travel is going to be a nightmare in La Crosse, Eau Claire, and Rochester, Minnesota, thanks to heavy snow and temps that drop like a rock. Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, and Davenport might catch the southern tail of this system, bringing significant snow Sunday night. Chicago, Rockford, and Peoria are stuck in the transition zone, where the snow stops just in time for brutally cold air to take over Monday evening. Once this storm clears out, the actual air temperature across the upper Midwest is going to sink to lows we have not seen in years. Imagine this. Daytime highs might not even crack zero from Tuesday through at least Friday in many spots. Have you ever seen the Great Lakes turn into a massive snowmaking machine? That is exactly what is happening, adding a risky twist to our weather forecast. If you are waking up in Detroit, Grand Rapids, or Lansing, get those shovels ready because Arctic air is sweeping across Lake Michigan starting Tuesday to dump some serious snow on you. Folks over in Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, and Muskegon need to keep a sharp eye out for heavy snow bands that could pile up in the blink of an eye. Down in Cleveland, Akron, and Youngstown, the winds are shifting and Lake Erie is preparing to send some potentially heavy snow right to your doorstep. Even our friends in Toledo, Sandusky, and Lorain might catch a surprising amount of accumulation as that lake activity really kicks into high gear. Up north in Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse, it looks like business as usual with classic snow patterns, but do not be shocked if some spots get buried under locally heavy amounts. Residents near Watertown, Oswego, and the Tug Hill Plateau should brace themselves for a staggering 2 to 3 feet of snow over the coming days. Erie, Pennsylvania, you are sitting right in the bullseye of the snow belt, so expect to see plenty of fresh powder piling up. For everyone in the Ohio Valley and Central Appalachians, this setup is looking fascinating, possibly bringing us some unprecedented winter scenes. If you call Cincinnati, Columbus, or Dayton home, you will want to watch that southern storm track closely, as we might get several chances for snow. Mark your calendars for January 1st, 5th, and 9th. Those are the dates when things could get really interesting for your neighborhoods. Down in Louisville, Lexington, and Bowling Green, that stubborn cold air means you might finally welcome the first real snow of the season. It is a similar story for Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and Evansville, with storms lining up to bring a taste of winter right to your front porch. Over in Pittsburgh, Morgantown, and Wheeling, it is going to be a close call between snow and ice. So stay tuned as we track exactly where these storms go. Charleston, Huntington, and Parkersburg in West Virginia, get ready. This could be the most significant winter weather you have dealt with in years. Let's shift gears and look at the Northeast, where the weather is transitioning from busy to downright hazardous. Right now, New York City, Long Island, and northern New Jersey are in the thick of a major storm that is not going to quit until tonight. By the time this system wraps up on Saturday, we could be looking at 6 to 10 inches of snow blanketed across the metro area. Our family up in Boston, Cambridge, and Worcester is still getting hammered, with several more inches expected to fall before Saturday morning arrives. Providence, Hartford, and New Haven, you are not out of the woods yet, with totals likely reaching anywhere from 4 to 8 inches. Albany, Schenectady, and Troy are catching just the northern edge of this mess, so you will likely see a bit less snow than the folks down south. Up in Burlington, Montpelier, and St. Johnsbury, Vermont, expect just a light to moderate dusting from this particular round of weather. Heading over to Portland, Lewiston, and Bangor, you are on the northeastern fringe, so look for moderate amounts of snow to settle in. Philadelphia, Allentown, and Reading, you are unfortunately stuck in that messy mix of precipitation on the southern side of the storm. Baltimore, Annapolis, and Frederick, it looks mostly like a cold rain for you, with maybe a little mixing here and there. And for Washington, D.C., Alexandria, and Arlington, it is mainly just a rainy event this time around, so travel shouldn't be too impacted by snow. But hold on tight, because next week brings a whole new story as this weather pattern locks in and churns out more storms. The Mid-Atlantic and Northeast are going to have multiple shots at winter weather as storms keep riding that same track. For my folks down in the Southeast, pay attention. This looks like the biggest winter threat we have faced in over a decade. Atlanta, Sandy Springs, and Roswell, you need to bundle up for what could be the coldest stretch of days you have felt in 5 years. Even if the snow misses you, waking up to temperatures in the mid to upper teens is going to be tough on your pipes and plants. Augusta, Columbus, and Macon, watch out for freeze warnings as that Arctic air pushes way further south than we are used to seeing. Charlotte, Greensboro, and Winston-Salem, you have a real shot at seeing some winter action with several storms lining up in the forecast. Keep an eye on the systems coming around January 5th and 9th. Those look like they could actually put some accumulating snow on the ground in Charlotte. Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, you are in the same boat, with the storm track looking favorable for central North Carolina. Of course, Asheville, Boone, and anyone living above 2,000 feet in the Blue Ridge Mountains are in the sweet spot for snow. Columbia, Charleston, and Greenville in South Carolina, this could be the most wintry weather you have seen since 2018. That January 9th system is the one to watch. It has the potential to bring some rare snow to the upstate area. Heading over to the Mid-South, this pattern is raising the odds for winter weather higher than we have seen in 10 years. Nashville, Murfreesboro, and Franklin, you are sitting right in the path for storm after storm. January 1st, 5th, and 9th are the key dates where the Nashville area could see some serious snowfall. Memphis, Germantown, and Bartlett, you have a tricky situation with the potential for ice storms developing right along the river. When you mix that river moisture with this deep cold, it creates the perfect recipe for dangerous freezing rain. Knoxville, Oak Ridge, and Maryville, you have excellent chances to see significant snow pile up with each system that passes through.
And for Chattanooga and the Tennessee Valley, get ready. This might be the first meaningful winter weather you have had in quite some time.
Can you believe folks in Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Conway are staring down the barrel of multiple heavy winter storms?
It looks like you are sitting right in the crosshairs for potentially all 4 weather systems I have been tracking for the next 2 weeks. If you are in Fort Smith, Fayetteville, or Jonesboro, please do not let your guard down, because this pattern has you lined up for some serious wintry mixes too. My friends down in Jackson, Meridian, and Tupelo need to bundle up, as you are about to feel a chill you have not experienced in over 10 years. Birmingham, Huntsville, and Decatur, I need you to listen closely, because this could be the coldest air you have felt in years, maybe even decades. We might see some snow with any of these 4 systems, but do not worry too much about shoveling just yet, since it should be lighter than what our northern neighbors get. I am genuinely worried about Mobile, Montgomery, and Tuscaloosa, because these temperature plunges are going to put heavy stress on pipes and power lines that just aren't built for this. For everyone in Florida and the deep southeast, this is shaping up to be the most biting cold snap we have seen in more than 10 years. Jacksonville, St. Augustine, and Gainesville could see hard freezes, so please think about your gardens and the local citrus crops that cannot handle that kind of frost. Even down in Orlando, Tampa, and Lakeland, you are going to need those heavy coats for the first time in ages, with freeze warnings likely on the way. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach will stay warmer than the rest, but brace yourselves for a temperature drop that will still feel shocking. We are talking about readings 15 to 20 degrees colder than what you are used to, which is going to feel incredibly strange for South Florida. For my family in the South Central states, this weather pattern is opening the door for storm after storm and some truly record-breaking chills. Dallas, Fort Worth, and Arlington are looking at the longest stretch of shivering cold this season, and yes, that includes a chance of winter precipitation. Mark your calendars for January 5th and 9th, because both dates could bring some messy winter weather right to the Metroplex. Austin, San Marcos, and Round Rock will definitely feel the plunge, but thankfully it looks like you will stay just above freezing for most of it. Houston, the Woodlands, and Sugar Land. Please watch out for freeze warnings as that biting Arctic air pushes all the way down to the coast. San Antonio, New Braunfels, and Corpus Christi are in for the coldest days in years, and I am concerned about what that means for local growers. It is rare, but New Orleans, Metairie, and Kenner might actually see hard freeze warnings as this cold front sweeps through the Gulf. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles could be seeing freezing marks on the thermometer for the first time in a very long while. Tulsa, Norman, and Lawton, you are unfortunately right in the path of the storm track for several rounds of bad weather over the next fortnight. Oklahoma City, Edmond, and more need to be ready for significant winter storm potential every single time the jet stream dips. Wichita, Topeka, and Kansas City, get ready to hunker down, because you are facing some of the toughest conditions of the entire season. Now, can we take a moment to talk about just how dangerously cold it is going to get across the map? The first big wave of freezing air hits on Monday, December 29th, sending temperatures 20 to 25 degrees below where they should be. By Tuesday, December 30th, that Arctic blast will have completely taken over everything from the central states to the East Coast. If you are up in the upper Midwest, please be careful, because the air is going to get cold enough to be immediately dangerous to anyone outside. Minneapolis and Fargo might not see temperatures go above 0 during the day, with nights dropping to a bone-chilling minus 25 or minus 35 degrees. Chicago is in for a rough ride with its longest freeze of the winter, where highs will barely creep into the single digits above 0. Detroit and Cleveland are looking at a long, icy stretch where the thermometer just won't climb above freezing for days. Even for those of you much further south, this is going to be a shock to the system compared to recent winters. St. Louis and Kansas City could wake up to morning temperatures in the single digits below zero several days in a row. Nashville and Louisville, you might see the mercury drop to the single digits above zero, which would be the coldest morning you have had in 5 years. Atlanta could be waking up to temps in the mid to upper teens, which is going to put a serious strain on homes and grids not made for this. Charlotte and Raleigh are looking at their chilliest weather in years, with lows likely dipping into the lower 20s. Even Birmingham and Jackson, Mississippi will not be spared, with mornings starting out in the freezing upper teens to lower 20s. Just when you think it is over, a second wave of cold air arrives around January 3rd to keep things freezing well into the month. This extra push of Arctic air means we are stuck with below normal temperatures for a while instead of getting a quick warm-up. A third blast around January 8th could be even worse, potentially matching or beating that first cold snap. What scares me most is that our homes and cities just aren't built to handle this kind of relentless cold. You know, our power grids down south are built for hot summer days, not for everyone cranking up the heat at the same time. Water pipes in places that usually don't freeze are at huge risk of bursting. So please learn how to shut off your water just in case. Our roads are going to be a mess because we just don't have enough snowplows or salt trucks to handle storm after storm. I really hope the highway departments from Arkansas to the Carolinas are getting their salt and sand ready right this second. I am also worried about our farmers, especially the citrus growers in Florida and Georgia, who could lose a lot to this freeze. Have you ever wondered why this cold snap feels so much scarier than the usual quick frost we get? Our four-legged friends out in the pasture are going to need extra bedding and a lot more food to keep warm while this deep freeze hangs around. With everyone and their grandmother cranking up the thermostat across the east, the demand for natural gas is going to shoot through the roof. The power companies aren't taking any chances. They are already calling in backup crews from warmer states to help keep the lights on. If you are flying through big hubs like Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, or Dallas, check your app because the airlines are already shuffling flights around. When you mix this relentless cold with a wintry mess, the chance of us sitting in the dark goes way up, so be ready. So pull up a chair and let me tell you why this freezer door is going to stay open way into January and maybe even longer. It all comes down to this stubborn blocking pattern we are seeing on the long-range charts that just refuses to budge. That traffic jam in the atmosphere over Greenland and eastern Canada looks like it is stuck in place until at least January 20th. Believe it or not, some of the data suggests this block could hang around until early February, which is just unheard of. As long as that roadblock sits there, it is going to pin this dip in the jet stream right over our heads in the east. That setup basically leaves the back door open for storm after storm and wave after wave of icy Arctic air to roll on through. Down south, the jet stream is acting incredibly feisty and full of energy for as far out as we can see. When you mix that active southern flow with all this cold air already setting here, it is the perfect recipe for brewing up trouble. We are honestly looking at chances for snow and ice stretching right into the third week of January and probably even further. Looking at the history books, this could be the longest stretch of winter weather to hit the South since the winter of 2013 to 2014. You remember that one, right? It brought wave after wave of ice and bone-chilling cold to folks who just were not set up for it. Well, what we are seeing now suggests this round could be even bigger and drag on longer than those memories we would rather forget. Let's walk through exactly what you need to do to get your household ready, depending on where you call home in this massive zone. First up, for my family in the upper Midwest staring down a scary blizzard this weekend, listen close. If you are in Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Des Moines, or nearby, you need to have everything buttoned up tight by Saturday evening. Make sure you have got enough groceries, water, meds, and fuel to last you at least a full week without leaving the house. Toss a winter kit in your trunk with warm blankets, snacks, water, a flashlight, and a first aid box, just in case. Please, stay off the roads from Sunday night through Tuesday. It is just going to be too dangerous out there to risk it. Go ahead and check your furnace now, and have a backup plan ready to keep the family warm if the power grid gives out. Now, for folks around the Great Lakes dealing with that brutal lake effect snow and deep freeze, Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, and everyone around you, get ready for a long stretch of really nasty weather. You know how that lake snow is. 1 minute it is clear, and a mile down the road, you cannot see the hood of your car. Have a plan B and C for your drive if you absolutely have to go out, because main roads might get blocked before you know it. Heading down to the Ohio Valley and Mid-South, where you all are looking at round after round of winter mess. Cincinnati, Louisville, Nashville, Memphis, Little Rock. You guys need to brace yourselves for a run of winter weather like we rarely see. Our roads and power lines down here just aren't built for hit after hit like this, so getting ready now is non-negotiable. Hit the grocery store before Tuesday and grab what you need, because these storms might mess up deliveries for a while. You have got to wrap those outdoor pipes better than usual, because this long freeze is going to cut right through our standard insulation. Cover those spigots, take the hoses off, and think about letting the faucets drip a little when it gets super cold. For my friends in the Southeast facing some cold you haven't felt in ages and maybe even some wintry mix, Atlanta, Charlotte, Birmingham, Columbia, get ready, because this is shaping up to be the toughest winter stretch we have seen in years. Even if we don't get a ton of snow, just staying below freezing this long is going to cause some real headaches for pipes and power. Make sure you have got plenty of fuel and think about how you will stay warm if the power flickers out. Please check in on your older neighbors and kinfolk who might not know how to handle cold that sticks around this long. For all our farmers out there, you need to get your freeze plans in motion right this second. Your animals are going to need a dry place to stand, blocks against the wind, and a lot more feed to keep their body heat up. Don't let their water troughs turn into ice blocks. Wrap the pipes or get some heaters in there. If you are growing citrus in Florida or Georgia, pull out all the stops, because this freeze could hurt the groves worse than anything we have seen in decades. Keeping crops alive is tough enough, but when the cold just won't quit like this, it is a whole different ballgame. Have you ever felt like the sky itself was rewriting the rule book right before your eyes? It looks like those gentle, easygoing winters we have gotten used to down south are packing their bags for good. Mother Nature loves her cycles, and she is flipping the switch to a wilder, colder setting that might stick around for a few years. Now, this isn't breaking any scientific laws. It is just the Earth flexing its muscles and showing us a different side of its personality. When we have seen setups like this back in the day, they gave us the kind of legendary snow stories we still tell our grandkids about. Think back to the colossal Christmas snow of 2009 or the ice nightmares of 2014. That is the same vibe we are getting now. But friends, what is heading our way has the muscle to outdo every single one of those memories in both size and staying power. It is going to hit our wallets too, likely pushing heating bills up by 50 to 70% just for January alone. We are talking about roads shutting down, crops taking a hit, and power lines struggling like we have rarely seen before. So, let's gather around and break this down into the 7 big things you absolutely need to know to stay safe. Number 1, a monster blizzard is brewing for Sunday up in the Midwest, and it is going to get genuinely scary for folks up there. If you are in Minneapolis, Milwaukee, or Chicago, brace yourselves. This is likely the toughest fight you have had with winter in a long time. Number 2, an atmospheric traffic jam is going to trap freezing Arctic air over the east, keeping us shivering for 3 or even 4 weeks straight. We haven't seen a cold snap this stubborn or this risky down south in more than 10 years. Number 3, get ready for a parade of storms, 4 of them lined up to drop snow in places that almost never see a single flake. Folks from Arkansas all the way over to the Carolinas are looking at the best chances for white stuff than they have had in decades. Number 4, temperatures are going to plummet 20 to 30 degrees lower than usual, putting serious pressure on pipes and grids that aren't built for this. Our electricity, water lines, and highways down here are facing a stress test unlike anything they have ever handled. Number 5, the computer models aren't arguing.
They all agree this is happening, and the signal just keeps getting stronger every day.
Usually looking this far out is tricky, but this time, the crystal ball is crystal clear. Number 6, the clock is ticking loud because this whole wild ride kicks off this coming Sunday, December 28th.
You need to have your pantry stocked and your home wrapped up tight by Saturday night. Don't wait until the last minute.
And number 7, don't expect a quick thaw.
This deep freeze could hug us tight all through January and maybe even into February. The invisible wall holding this cold in place is looking stronger and more stubborn than anything we have seen on the charts. Just keep in mind that the exact path of each storm might wiggle a bit as we get closer to the big day.
I'm not sleeping on this. I'll be watching the screens day and night to bring you the latest the second I know it.
In the next video, we're going to zoom in tight on that massive Midwest blizzard hitting Sunday so you know exactly what to expect.
I promise to also break down the snow totals for every single storm aimed at the south as soon as they start forming. That covers the big picture for this emergency outlook as we ring in the new year and head into the deep winter. Keep your eyes open and your kits ready, because being prepared isn't just a motto, it is how we keep our loved ones safe. It doesn't matter if you are buried in Minnesota or watching snowflakes fall in Georgia, you have got to be on your toes. Drop a comment below telling me where you are riding this out and how you are getting your home ready. Hearing what you are seeing on the ground actually helps me build a better forecast for everyone else. And listen, if there is anything heavy on your heart that needs prayer, please leave that down below too so we can lift you up. God bless every single one of you as we bundle up and face this historic freeze side by side. Don't forget, this isn't just your average chilly Tuesday. This is a whole different beast. We are watching the atmosphere rewrite its script, bringing winter fury to doorsteps that usually stay bare. Stand tall, keep a sharp lookout, and stick with me for updates as things start to get wild in the coming weeks. Moments like this really humble us before nature's power and remind us why we need our neighbors more than ever. We are in this together, and together is how we will get through every storm this winter throws at us.